Many people wonder, why can't theistic evolution be a viable option for Christians? And I think that's a big question, and one of the things we first need to say is, what do you mean by evolution? There are lots of different meanings of evolution, from just change over time to common ancestry to Darwin's idea that life was the product of an unguided process. And I think some of those things you can believe as a Christian and believe it consistently. Other things you can't. For me personally, I'm not troubled by the idea that the Earth and the universe is billions of years old. I think Christians have had different views on that throughout history, and I think that that can be accommodated. I think that the idea that things change over time, just generically, sure, things can change over time. We can see that from the fossil record, that there are things that existed a long time ago that don't exist now. I don't think there are any Christians that I know of that think that natural selection isn't a real process and that you can't have small level changes within species. So I do think that there are some things that aren't problematic, but then you get to really the larger claim, which I think many Christians don't understand, that Charles Darwin, when he came up with his theory of evolution, it wasn't just a theory of guided evolution or development over time. He thought he was defeating the idea that nature showed evidence of design and purpose. He really did think that he had a designer substitute, that through natural selection, basically survival of the fittest, acting on these random variations in nature, you could get the appearance of design in nature without the need for a designer. And that's where I think that if you want to be a Christian or a faithful Jew or faithful monotheist, period, that there's a real problem there. That if you think that the idea of a creator is superfluous and that the evolutionary process, an unguided process, can replace the need for a creator, I don't see how you square that with traditional monotheism. And so I think that that, for me, makes it not viable. That's theologically. But then on the science side, I think the reason why theistic evolution isn't particularly viable is that the science itself is undercutting Darwinian claims. The science itself shows that natural selection acting on these random variations will get you some really small things. It's good at knocking out things, making complicated things less complicated, but it's not great at building new things. And so if you really think that this is a viable option, I'd say theistic evolution is not viable from the standpoint of theism and from theology and the Bible, but it's also not viable from the standpoint of science.